The Wealthy Woman Mindset, Rewiring Your Relationship with Money. Imagine this. A woman named Diana sits at her kitchen table at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night, surrounded by unopened envelopes. Her hands are trembling slightly. She slides her finger beneath the flap of the one on top. She already knows what is inside. Another bill she cannot quite pay. Another reminder that no matter how hard she works, the numbers never seem to add up. Diana is 37 years old. She has a decent job, a warm home, 2 kids she would move the earth for, by almost every measure. She is doing okay, but okay has never felt more frightening, because Diana has a secret she has never said out loud. She has no idea where her money goes. She earns it, and then it vanishes. And every time she tries to look at the problem directly, something inside her flinches, so she closes the envelopes. She makes herself a cup of tea. She tells herself she will deal with it tomorrow. That was Diana at 37. By 42, Diana had paid off every debt she carried, built a 6-month emergency fund, opened her first investment account, and started a side business that would eventually replace her salary entirely. She did not win the lottery. She did not inherit money. She did not find a wealthy partner or stumble into a windfall. What Diana found was something far more powerful and far more permanent. She rewired her relationship with money. She changed the story she told herself about what she deserved, what was possible, and who she was allowed to become. And that is exactly what this video is about. Welcome to Wealthy Woman Mindset, and welcome to this channel. If you are here for the first time, this is a space built specifically for women who are ready to stop surviving and start building real, lasting financial freedom. Today we are going deep into the psychology behind your money habits, the science of the mindset shift, 5 concrete wealth habits practiced by financially empowered women, and your first 5 actionable steps toward the life you actually want. By the time this video ends, you will have a clear picture of what has been holding you back and a practical roadmap for moving forward. So settle in, get comfortable. This is going to change something for you. Let us start at the beginning, not with budgets, not with investment accounts, not with savings rates. Let us start with the story you are carrying about money, because here is something most financial advice refuses to acknowledge. The spreadsheet is not the problem. Your habits are not even the real problem. The problem lives deeper than that, in the narrative you absorbed about money before you were old enough to question it. Think back to your childhood home. What was the atmosphere around money? Was it a source of tension between the adults in your life? Hushed arguments, stress that everyone pretended was about something else? Or was money something simply never discussed, as though talking about it were somehow impolite or dangerous? Maybe you grew up hearing phrases like money does not grow on trees, or we cannot afford that, or people like us do not do things like that. Perhaps you watched the women around you defer entirely to the men when financial decisions were being made. Perhaps you learned, without anyone ever saying it directly, that wanting more was greedy, that ambition was unseemly, that a good woman managed with what she had and did not make a fuss. These messages are not neutral. They are instructions. And your young brain, which was absorbing the world at an extraordinary rate, filed them away as facts about reality, not opinions. Not one way of seeing things. Facts. Money is scarce. Money causes problems. Wanting money is selfish. I am not the kind of person who has money. These are the beliefs that become the architecture of your financial life, and most women are not even aware they are living inside them. Psychologists call these limiting beliefs, and the research on them is striking. Studies in behavioral economics consistently show that our financial decisions are far less rational than we like to think. We do not make money choices based purely on logic and math. We make them based on emotion, identity, and deeply conditioned patterns. A woman who grew up watching her mother hoard small amounts of cash in a kitchen drawer because she did not trust banks is going to have a complex, visceral response to the idea of putting money into financial institutions, even if she intellectually understands that hiding cash under a mattress is not a wealth-building strategy. A woman who watched her parents divorce over money is going to carry that memory into every financial conversation she has with a partner, whether she realizes it or not. These are not abstract theoretical concepts. They show up in concrete, day-to-day ways. They show up when you get a raise and immediately feel compelled to spend it before something takes it away. They show up when you feel physically uncomfortable discussing your salary, even with close friends, even when that information could benefit you both. They show up when you sabotage a savings streak with an impulsive purchase you did not really want, almost as if some part of you needs to prove that you were right, not to get your hopes up. The subconscious is not subtle, but it is patient, and it will keep replaying the same patterns until you interrupt them consciously. And then there is the cultural layer on top of all of this. Women have been receiving specific, often contradictory messages about money for generations. Be independent, but do not out-earn your husband. Be generous, but do not be a pushover. Invest in yourself, but do not be vain. Save money, but do not be a tightwad. Be financially savvy, but not intimidatingly so. The result is a kind of financial paralysis that has nothing to do with intelligence or capability, and everything to do with navigating an impossible set of competing social expectations. Research consistently shows that women are less likely than men to negotiate their salaries, less likely to describe themselves as investors, even when they hold investment accounts, and more likely to say they do not feel confident making financial decisions. This is not because women are less capable. It is because the messages women receive about money are laden with a unique kind of social risk that men simply do not face in the same way. There is also the very real factor of fear. Fear of making the wrong decision, fear of looking foolish, fear of what it would mean if you actually started paying attention. Because what if you looked at the numbers and they were worse than you imagined? What if you tried and still failed? It is somehow safer, at least in the short term, to keep the envelopes closed, to keep scrolling past the bank notification, to keep saying I will deal with it when things calm down, even though things never quite calm down. That avoidance is not a character flaw. It is a completely understandable response to fear, but it is also the thing that has to change first. Here is what I want you to hear clearly. Your money story is not your fault. The household you grew up in, the culture you were raised inside, the messages you absorbed before you were old enough to evaluate them, none of that was your choice. But from this moment forward, it is your responsibility, not because you owe it to anyone else, but because you owe it to yourself, to the life you are capable of living, to the woman you are still in the process of becoming. The first step is simply to recognize the story, to hear it when it speaks, to notice when you are about to close an envelope, and ask yourself, what am I actually afraid of right now? Awareness is where all transformation begins. You cannot rewrite a story you do not know you are telling. Now let's talk about the two worlds you can live in when it comes to money, the world of scarcity and the world of abundance. And I want to be very clear, right from the start, this is not a conversation about toxic positivity. I am not going to tell you to just think happy thoughts and the money will appear. That is not what abundance mindset means, and confusing the two has done real harm. Abundance mindset is not about pretending financial challenges do not exist. It is not about affirmations that paper over genuine hardship. It is about the lens through which you view possibility, the identity you claim, and the choices that flow from that identity. Let us look at what scarcity mindset actually feels like in a woman's life. Scarcity thinking is characterized by fear, specifically the fear that there is not enough, that there will never be enough, and that any moment the small amount you do have could disappear. When you are living from scarcity, you make financial decisions from a place of panic rather than strategy. You might hoard money compulsively in low-yield savings accounts because investing feels too risky after all. What if you lose it? You might avoid looking at your bank account because the reality feels too painful. You might oscillate between spending nothing and then blowing an entire paycheck in a single emotional shopping trip, because deprivation always eventually swings back to indulgence. Scarcity keeps you reactive. Every unexpected expense feels like a crisis. Every financial conversation triggers anxiety. Every time a friend mentions her investments or her salary, you feel a complicated mix of admiration and shame. There is also a particularly insidious way that scarcity manifests in our relationships with other women around money. When scarcity is your operating system, another woman's success can feel threatening. Her raise feels like one fewer raise available for you. Her thriving business seems to confirm that you missed your window. Instead of being inspired by women who are doing well financially, scarcity makes you feel smaller in their presence. This is one of the quietest cruelties of the scarcity mindset. It isolates you from the very community of women who could help you grow. Scarcity also manifests as something that looks, on the surface, like its opposite, avoidance. When money feels threatening, sometimes the response is not tight-fisted hoarding, but a kind of willful obliviousness. You spend freely. You avoid checking the balance. You tell yourself you deserve this because your life is hard, and you figure you will sort it out later. This is still scarcity thinking. It is just scarcity wearing the mask of carefree spending. Underneath it is the same belief: I do not have control over this, so I might as well enjoy what I can while I can. Abundance mindset operates from a completely different set of assumptions. It starts from the belief that resources, including money, can be created, grown, and multiplied. It believes that financial education is available to you, that you are capable of learning, that the system, while imperfect, is navigable. Abundance thinkers see money as a tool rather than a threat. They are curious about it rather than afraid of it. They can look at a financial statement, even a difficult one, without it feeling like a referendum on their worth as a human being. They can hear about another woman's financial success and feel genuinely happy for her because they understand that her win does not subtract from their own possibility. Crucially, abundance mindset is not about believing you already have everything. It is about believing that growth is possible, that the situation today is not the situation forever, that every expert you admire was once a beginner, that women who have built financial security are not fundamentally different from you. They simply started thinking and acting differently, and so can you. So how do you begin to make this shift? There are a few practical tools that genuinely move the needle. The first is what I call the reframe practice. Every time you catch yourself saying or thinking something that comes from scarcity, pause and consciously offer yourself an alternative framing, not a false one, an honest one that holds space for possibility. Instead of "I will never be able to afford that," try "I have not prioritized saving for that yet, and I can decide if I want to." Instead of "I am terrible with money," try "I'm learning to manage money better every day." Instead of "investing is too complicated for me," try "I do not understand it yet, and I can learn." This is not lying to yourself. It is choosing the interpretation that serves your growth rather than your fear. The second tool is identity journaling. Every morning, for just 5 minutes, Write about who you are becoming financially, not who you wish you were, who you are in the process of becoming. Write in the present tense. I am a woman who tracks her spending with curiosity rather than dread. I am someone who makes intentional choices about money. I am building something real. This practice works because your brain cannot easily distinguish between vivid imagination and lived experience. You are literally rehearsing new identity in the neural circuitry of your mind. Neuroscientists call this process self-directed neuroplasticity. You are actively shaping your brain's wiring through deliberate mental rehearsal. The third tool is what I call the abundance inventory. Once a week, write down 3 specific ways that money has served you well this week, no matter how small. Your electric bill was paid. You bought groceries that fed your family. You put $20 in savings. You are training your brain to see evidence of abundance in your actual life rather than defaulting to the evidence of lack. Our brains have what psychologists call a negativity bias, a built-in tendency to register negative experiences more vividly than positive ones. The abundance inventory is how you actively counteract that bias and build new neural pathways that notice and register what is working. These are not magic tricks. They are consistent practices that, over weeks and months, shift the lens through which you see your financial life. And as the lens shifts, the choices you make shift with it. Small shifts in perception lead to different decisions. Different decisions, compounded over years, lead to entirely different financial lives. Now let us get into the habits. Because mindset without action is just daydreaming. The women I have studied and spoken with who have genuinely built financial security over time share a set of habits that show up again and again. These are not glamorous habits. They are not complicated, but they are consistent. And in the world of personal finance, consistency is everything. The first habit is knowing exactly where your money goes. Financially empowered women are not afraid of their numbers. They look at them regularly, clearly, without flinching. This does not mean obsessing over every penny. It means having a clear, honest picture of your financial reality at all times. Think of a woman named Kezia, who spent years feeling like she was doing everything right and still coming up short. She had a good salary. She was not buying designer clothes or taking extravagant vacations. She was just always somehow short. When she finally sat down and tracked every dollar she spent over 30 days, she was stunned. She was spending almost $400 a month on subscriptions, convenience food, and small purchases she could not even remember making. She was not being irresponsible. She simply was not looking. Once she was looking, she redirected $250 of those dollars to her investment account every month, over 10 years, with compound growth. That single shift was worth more than $50,000. Awareness is not just emotional, it is financial. You cannot manage what you refuse to measure. The second habit is investing consistently, regardless of the amount. The single most important investment variable is not how much you put in. It is how long your money has to grow. Compound interest rewards time above all else. A woman who invests $100 a month, starting at 25, will have dramatically more at 65 than a woman who invests $500 a month starting at 45. The math is not intuitive, but it is unambiguous. Financially empowered women understand this, and so they start. They do not wait until they have more money, more knowledge, or more confidence. They open the account with what they have and they learn as they go. Starting small is not the same as thinking small. It is the smart, strategic thing to do. It is also worth noting that women, on average, are actually better long-term investors than men. Studies consistently show that women trade less frequently, take more measured risks, and achieve better long-term returns. The habits and patience that are sometimes called feminine traits are actually elite investment qualities. The third habit is saying a firm no to lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is the silent wealth killer. Every time your income goes up, the temptation is to upgrade everything alongside it. A nicer apartment, a newer car, better vacations, a higher category of everything. And some of that is reasonable. Should enjoy the fruits of your work. But financially empowered women have a practice of letting their savings rate rise with their income before they let their lifestyle rise. When they get a raise, they first ask, what percentage of this increase goes to future me before present me gets a taste? This is not deprivation. This is strategy. This is the practice of treating your future self as a real person whose needs matter as much as your current self's comfort. A woman who earns $40,000 a year and saves 15% of it is building more wealth than a woman who earns $80,000 and saves 2%. Income is the raw material, but the habit of not inflating your lifestyle is what turns raw material into lasting wealth. The fourth habit is cultivating what I call an income mindset. This is the shift from seeing yourself as someone who earns a fixed salary and has to make it work, to seeing yourself as someone who can create income in multiple ways. This does not mean everyone needs to start a business, though many women who do this find it deeply empowering. It means asking yourself regularly, are there skills I have that I am not being compensated for? Is there a problem I know how to solve that other people would pay to have solved? Is there a service, a product, a piece of knowledge that I could offer? It means staying curious about your earning potential rather than treating your current income as a ceiling. Women who build real wealth almost always have multiple income streams, not because they were born entrepreneurs, but because they trained themselves to see opportunity and act on it. Even a modest side income of $500 a month, invested consistently for 20 years, grows into something that can genuinely change the trajectory of your retirement. The fifth habit is one of the most underrated. Surrounding yourself with financially savvy people. We are deeply social creatures, and our financial norms are set almost entirely by the people around us. If everyone in your social circle spends every raise before they earn it, struggles to talk openly about money, and treats investing as something other people do, that will feel like normal to you. Not just normal, it will feel like the only option. But if you find even a few women who talk openly about their investment accounts, who celebrate each other's financial wins, who share knowledge and ask questions without shame, the effect on your own financial behavior is profound. You begin to understand viscerally, not just theoretically, that this is possible for someone like you. Find a community, online or in person, of women who are building wealth intentionally. Read books written by women who have done it. Follow educators whose approach resonates with you. Let the evidence of what is possible become undeniable. These 5 habits are not about perfection. Nobody tracks spending with joy every single day. Nobody resists lifestyle inflation at every turn. The women who build wealth are not perfect. They are consistent. They return to these habits after they slip. They keep the long view even when the short term is hard. And now let us talk about how to put all of this into motion. Because insight without action is just a very well-informed version of staying stuck. Your first step is to calculate your net worth. I know that might sound daunting, but stay with me, because this is not about judgment. Net worth is simply the difference between what you own and what you owe. It is a number, just a number, and knowing it is the single most clarifying thing you can do for your financial life. Take a piece of paper or open a spreadsheet and write down everything you own that has monetary value. The balance in your checking account, your savings account, any retirement accounts, investments, the value of your car if you own it outright, any property you own. Add them up. Then write down everything you owe: your credit card balances, your student loans, your car loan if you have one, your mortgage balance. If applicable, subtract your total debts from your total assets. That number is your net worth. It might be positive, it might be negative, it might be zero. All of those are valid starting points. The number itself is not the point. The point is that you are no longer looking away. You are facing your reality with clear eyes. And that act of honesty is the beginning of everything. Women who know their net worth make dramatically better financial decisions than women who are navigating blind, because you cannot optimize a journey when you do not know where you are. Calculate it today, then calculate it again in 3 months, and watch what it means to see it begin to move. Your second step is to create a zero-based budget. A zero-based budget is one where every single dollar of your monthly income is assigned a purpose before the month begins. Your income minus your expenses equals zero, not because you have spent everything, but because every dollar has a job, including the dollar going into savings and investments. The way this works is straightforward. Start with your monthly take-home income, then list every single expense, fixed ones like rent, car payments, insurance, and variable ones like groceries, gas, entertainment, clothing. Assign a specific dollar amount to each category based on what you actually spend and what you actually value. Adjust until the total matches your income. Then, critically, you include a line item for savings and a line item for investing as non-negotiable expenses, not whatever is left over, because whatever is left over is almost always nothing. Pay your future self first, and then build the rest of the budget around what remains. This approach feels restrictive at first, but most women who adopt it describe a sense of profound freedom within a few months. The freedom comes from making the choices consciously, in advance, rather than spending reactively and wondering afterward where everything went. You are no longer at the mercy of your impulses or your circumstances. You are the author of your financial month. There are excellent free apps and tools that make this process much simpler than it sounds. The mechanics are not the barrier. The willingness to sit down and do it honestly is the barrier. And you are already doing that work by being here. Your third step is to open an investment account if you do not already have one. I want to spend some real time here because this is the step most women delay the longest, and the delay is extraordinarily costly. There is a very common belief that investing is something you do once you have your finances sorted, once you have more money, once you understand it better. But this belief is backwards. Investing is not the reward for getting your finances sorted. It is part of how you sort your finances. Time in the market is the single most powerful wealth-building tool available to ordinary people, and every year you wait is a year of compounding you can never get back. Think of it this way. If you invest $10,000 today and earn an average annual return of 7%, in 30 years that $10,000 will have grown to approximately $76,000. That growth happens not because of anything clever you did, but because you started, and then you stayed. If your employer offers a retirement plan with any kind of matching contribution, start there. A matching contribution is a 100% instant return on your money. There is no investment in the world that beats that. Contribute at least enough to capture the full match before you do anything else. If you do not have access to an employer plan or you want to invest beyond it, open an individual retirement account. Many brokerages have no minimum opening balance and allow you to start investing with as little as $1. You do not need to understand every investment product. Start with a simple, low-cost index fund that tracks a broad market index. You do not need to be an expert. You need to start. The expertise comes from doing, not from waiting until you feel ready. And the beautiful thing is that once your money is in the market, you become genuinely, personally interested in understanding it. Having skin in the game is the best financial education available. Your fourth step is to set a clear savings rate goal. A savings rate is the percentage of your income that you set aside rather than spend. Most financial advisors suggest a savings rate of at least 20%. But if that feels completely out of reach right now, start where you are. If you can only do 3% this month, do 3%. The specific number matters far less than the consistency and the trajectory. Set your current savings rate, write it down, and then set a goal to increase it by 1 or 2 percentage points every 3 months. Small, consistent increases compound over time in exactly the same way that interest does. A woman who starts with a 3% savings rate and increases it by 2 points every quarter will be saving substantially within 2 years, without ever making a painful, unsustainable leap. This is the art of building financial habits that actually stick, not revolution, but steady, intentional evolution. The savings rate goal also gives you something concrete to celebrate. Every time you increase it, you are genuinely moving the needle on your future. That is not a small thing. That is worth acknowledging. Your fifth step is to automate everything you possibly can. This is, without any exaggeration, one of the most powerful financial tools available to you, and it has nothing to do with discipline or willpower. Automation works because it removes the decision entirely. When your savings contribution transfers to your savings account on the same day as every paycheck, you never choose between saving and spending. The saving just happens, and you live on what remains. When your investment contribution drafts automatically on the first of the month, you never talk yourself out of it. During a week when expenses feel tight, when your bills are on autopay, you never accidentally miss a payment and damage your credit score. Set up automatic transfers for your savings goal the day your paycheck arrives. Set up automatic contributions to your investment account on a regular schedule. Automate your bill payments wherever possible. And then, crucially, leave it alone. Do not check your investment account every day. The short-term fluctuations will drive you to make emotional decisions that undermine your long-term returns. Check it quarterly. Let it work. The wealthy do not build wealth by constantly fiddling with their portfolios. They build it by setting up strong systems and letting compound growth do the heavy lifting over years and decades. Automation is how you make your future self's financial security as effortless as possible for your present self. These 5 steps, knowing your net worth, building a zero-based budget, opening an investment account, setting a savings rate goal, and automating your financial systems, are not a complete financial plan, but they are the foundation of one. Every woman who has built real financial security started somewhere close to here. The sophistication comes later. The fundamentals come first. And the fundamentals are simpler than the financial industry would like you to believe. They benefit from you thinking it is complicated. It is not. Before we close, I want to say something directly to you, to the woman who has been listening to this and feeling some mix of inspiration and overwhelm. Both of those feelings are completely appropriate. The path to financial freedom is genuinely exciting, and it is also genuinely challenging, not because the concepts are complicated, but because this work requires you to look at yourself honestly, to examine the beliefs you have carried for decades, to sit with discomfort without closing the envelope, to choose the harder, slower, more intentional path when the easier path is always available. There will be months when unexpected expenses blow up your budget and you feel like you are back at square one. There will be moments when you look at your investment account during a market dip and feel a wave of panic. There will be conversations where someone implies that women who talk about money are unseemly, or aggressive, or somehow unfeminine. And a small part of you will wonder if they are right. They are not right. There will also be moments of quiet, private pride. The moment you realize your savings account has more in it than it has ever had before. The first time you watch your investment account cross a threshold you once thought was only for other kinds of people. Hang on to those moments. They are proof of who you are becoming. Your financial life is not separate from your full, rich, beautiful life. It is the foundation of it. The freedom to say yes to what you love and no to what you do not. The ability to absorb a crisis without it becoming a catastrophe. The dignity of providing for yourself and the people you love without fear. The power to give generously because you have built something solid to give from. This is what you are building. This is what all of it is for. Diana, the woman I told you about at the beginning of this video, said something once that has stayed with me. She said, I used to think getting my finances together was about discipline and sacrifice, but it turned out to be the most self-loving thing I have ever done. She was right. Taking care of your money is an act of love for your present self, for your future self, and for everyone who depends on you and everyone who watches you. The women in your life are watching you, the daughters, the nieces, the younger friends, who look at you more than you know. When you change your relationship with money, you change the story that gets passed down. You break a cycle. You become someone's Diana. You have everything you need to start, not to finish. Starting is all you need right now. Open one envelope, calculate one number, transfer $1. Start one conversation with yourself that you have been avoiding. The journey of 1,000 miles really does begin with a single step, and you are ready to take it. If this video resonated with you today, here is what I would love you to do. First, leave a like. It genuinely helps more women find this content. And this is a conversation that needs to reach as many women as possible. Second, subscribe to this channel so you do not miss what is coming. We are just getting started, and every video builds on the last. Third, and most importantly, leave a comment below and tell me, what is your single biggest takeaway from today's video? What is the one thing that landed for you? Or the one step you are going to take this week? I read every comment and respond to as many as I can. Your words matter here, and your story might be exactly what another woman needs to hear today. In the next video, we are diving into one of the most requested topics on this channel, breaking the cycle of financial self-sabotage. Why smart, capable women keep undermining their own financial progress, and the specific, research-backed strategies to stop. If you have ever felt like you take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back with money no matter how hard you try, that video was made for you. It drops next week, so make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you do not miss it. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not too damaged by your past or too constrained by your present. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, and you are now moving forward. The wealthy woman you are becoming is not a stranger. She is you, with a few new habits and a new story about what you deserve. I will see you in the next one.